Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for clicking on the video. Please do me a favor and thumbs up this video. Thank you. All right, so today I'm talking about a new show that is currently streaming on Starz Network. It's called Run the World. And it is about 4 black women living in Harlem, living their best lives, I'm assuming. So we love a quartet, right? We love a quartet of women. We love a quartet of black women, a la Living Single, a la Girlfriends, a la Golden Girls, right? Like 4 women, even, I think maybe even that show Designing Women was 4 women, right? So it's a good look because we get to see 4 specific archetypes, 4 specific types of ways that womanhood presents itself in the world and how those 4 types interact with each other. So there's lots of room for stories, lots of room for exploration of like friendship and camaraderie. And we love it, we love it, we love it. We love when they're stylish. We love when they're multi-layered. We love when they have beautiful apartments and beautiful homes. And so far, Run the World has all these things. So I'm excited, you know. When I first saw the trailer floating all over social media, it said that brought to you by the same people that brought you Living Single. And my eyes and ears just perked up because Living Single, hands down, is one of the best sitcoms out there. There's no debate about it. Living Single is iconic. So it's like, oh, Yvette Lee Bowser, the same woman who also brought us Half and Half. And she also wrote for A Different World and a couple of other TV shows. So she's kind of an icon when it comes to American TV, when it comes to black sitcoms. She's the first black woman to have a sitcom. So yeah, we're all in for that. And I think there's also somebody from Insecure that's involved behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'm excited. And I got the Starz network when P Valley first started airing, and I never canceled it because I was like, P Valley's coming back, and I'm sure there'll be other things on this network that I can watch and enjoy, and it's not that bad of an expense, so it's fine. And so I was like, oh, something for me to not cut my stars off. Yeah, 4 women, black women doing their thing. Anywho, so the first episode of the season, there's 8 episodes in total, aired this past weekend. And yeah, I watched it, and I have to say, so far so good. I'm loving this episode. I'm loving this series. I'm loving these characters. They are fun. They're a little bit different from characters we've seen before. And they all are coming with a different flavor of their own. So this episode 1 was called Phenomenal Woman, and it was written by Lee Davenport. I'm not sure if it's Leah or Lee, so I'm gonna say Lee because of the spelling, but if someone knows, please correct me. And so the show stars Amber Stevens West as Whitney Green, Andrea Bordeaux as Ella McFair, Brescia Webb as Renee Ross, and Corbin Reed as Sandy Hill. Now, the same person who styled Sex and the City, speaking of a quartet, Patricia Field, is also the stylist on this show. So hands down, we're going to be seeing some dope fashions. Yeah, and the only person I've ever seen out of the cast is Brescia Webb in A Fall from Grace. So I'm not really familiar with these other actresses, but I have to say that I enjoyed them all, especially Sandy Hill, because I really enjoy the character she's playing. So Whitney Green is like the uptight, conservative, straight-laced. She's been in the same relationship since college. I'm guessing that she's like a lawyer or like an accountant or something very like classic, like business person. And she's engaged. She's a fiance. She's marrying a Nigerian man. So, you know, I don't know why she thought she was going to have a small, intimate wedding, marrying into a Nigerian family. Girl, don't you, or do you have Instagram? Do you have TikTok? You don't see the escapades that happen at a Nigerian wedding? I don't know. Should have known better. But apparently she's been with this guy for so long, and maybe she's getting cold feet about the marriage. But either way, she acts up a little bit in this episode. Like, she hooks up with the community peen. Um, and I don't know if it's jitters or if she's like falling in love with her fiance, but I'm very curious to see where that story goes. Andrea Bordeaux, who plays Ella McFair, is a writer, and it turns out that she was kind of like a big deal. She got a book deal, and her book flopped. Not only did her book flop in terms of like sales, it also got really bad reviews. And apparently she's considered like a regressive feminist. So it was one of these books, I'm guessing, where it was like part memoir, but it was like a politicized memoir. So it was a collection of essays, and in it she expresses her views around like being in relationship to men, and she expresses some things that make her look submissive and maybe a little pick-me-ish. Either way, folks weren't feeling it, so she kind of fell on her ass. And her character definitely gives me like Carrie, Sex and the City vibes, like automatically, because she's a writer, because she's kind of a mess, and because she mentions big. Now, those of you familiar with Sex and the City know that Carrie was hopelessly in love with this man-child named Big for way too long. He kept her hanging, he played her out, he married a whole other woman. Big played Carrie. So I'm really hoping that we won't see Ella McFair get played the way that Big played Carrie. Like, I'm hoping we don't see that. But Ella seems really cool. She seems really fun. She seems a little bit spontaneous, reactionary, similar to Carrie. In this episode, she hooks up with this man that is obviously beneath her. Luckily, the sex doesn't go anywhere because he's had too much whiskey. But she looks around and sees that he doesn't have a bed frame. There's sneakers everywhere. And she's like, okay, I just jumped from one man-child to another, right? Because she saw her Big at the club. Child. I mean, there was one cute scene where they were making out in the cab, and the cab driver was like, "Not in my cab," and I was like, "Yes, don't let that happen in your cab, sir. Thank you." So Ella McFair is, yeah, she seems like she still got it in terms of her writing talent. She publishes an article about Soulja Boy and about the ageism, the featureism that takes place because her and Renee are not let into the VIP section so that she can do her interview. So she sees all these comments, blah, blah, blah. Looks like things are going her way. And then there's Brescia Webb. Now, Brescia Webb is Renee Ross, and she's the only one out of the quartet that's married, but it turns out, just from future trailers, it looks like she's going to be getting a divorce. So her marriage is in trouble. But she is like the fun one. Like, she seems like she's like a mom who's like finally free. Like, her kids are old enough to stay with the babysitter, so she's just out to wild out. Like, she seems like she really wants to find like her second win in terms of like liberation and like being out and being fun and being cute and talking smack. So she's got, I don't know what that is. She's got a lot of joie de vivre with her. Yeah. Sorry about the noise, y'all. And then coming up the rear is my favorite character, played by Corbin Reed, Sandy Hill. Now, Sandy Hill is my favorite for multiple reasons. She is a graduate student. She's like the woke one of the group. She's very politicized. She's very like aware of how race and gender and color and all these things impact and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, she's very, we're taking over the world, and she's fierce. She's fierce. She's confrontational. She's argumentative. She speaks up. She's like, you know where she stands. So I like Sandy. I like her name. I like the fact that she is a thicker girl. I like the fact that she had a sexy little moment. First of all, let me tell you something. I did not know that Starz got that sexy and that, dare I say, exposing of like body. Like, I didn't know that much nudity happened on Starz. I had no idea. So when they first showed Ella in the shower, I was like, oh, okay, this show is rated R. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I'm like, okay, Sex in the City meets Girlfriends, meets, the Netflix or R-rated HBO network. Like, we're getting to see a lot of different mashups, but we're also getting to see something completely unique because we've never seen characters like this before. So Sandy is in a relationship with her graduate professor, her graduate advisor, which is automatically a no. And she's also helping him raise his child. She's been in the child's life since she was 4. So I'm guessing that the baby's maybe 7 or 8. But it's definitely been years, and she's been playing that mom role to this child, and she's been making very strong decisions around the things for the child's life, and her and the child have their own nice little like language and their own little rapport. But in this episode, she kind of oversteps her boundaries, according to the dad, by pulling her out of the ballet school. Now, I was understanding why she pulled her out because, for one, all the girls in the class are like ambiguous, multiracial. So her daughter, I almost called her daughter, his daughter is the only one in the class that looks like a black girl, with thick hair and brownish skin. And then the teacher, director of the school, is like, gives her this pamphlet and talks about, oh, we got to watch her nutrition because girls of her ethnic type need support around like their bodies and stuff. Okay, so not only is she going to get some shit because of her race and color, possibly, but they're also putting this pre-existing condition on this baby. So she's like, yeah, this child, I'm putting her in the dance theater of Harlem, right? And it's like, okay, Sandy, that's a really excellent idea, but that's not your child. Like, we understand that you feel like that's your child because you're dating her dad and because you kind of act like her mom, because you take her to ballet, pick her up at school, hang out with her, but they're still not your kid. So when it comes to making like flat out decisions about where she should be and go, you got to talk to her dad first. So Sandy kind of acts out. Right. So those are the 4 characters. And then we have these side characters like Sandy's man, who we've seen before in Being Mary Jane. He's a cutie, and he's a good actor. I feel like he kind of plays the same character in everything I've seen him in, but he's a cutie and he is a good actor. But I wonder if he's could play like the villain. Like, I don't know why. I feel like if I were gonna make a film, I would cast him as the villain. I don't know why, but anyway. So in this, he ends up calling Sandy a child and going off on her. So they have a fight. And, they seem to have really good sexual chemistry, but who knows if their relationship is one where they're in love with each other. Because even Sandy says at one point, like, the relationship is undefined, and it has been undefined. So it's like, girl, why are you with somebody for years and you don't know what's happening? I shouldn't talk because I've been there. So yeah, one of the things I'm hoping that we see in the show is a healthy relationship between a man and a woman. Like, I hope that not all of the relationships that these women engage in are with like toxic men or men that are like controlling or pushy. Like, I don't know if we, like, outside of, I can't think of a couple. I know that people watch This Is Us. I don't watch This Is Us, but the last time I saw a happy black couple on TV was like The Cosby Show, and I don't want to use that reference anymore for obvious reasons. So anyway, so yeah, so Sandy's man is her professor, and we haven't met Whitney's man yet. We haven't met Renee's man, but Ella's man is someone named Anderson, who's in town, didn't call her, and that's her big. And they kissed in this episode, and then she ran off and had sex with Brian, who's the man who didn't have a bed frame. So yeah, the other thing I want to mention real quick is that, speaking of living single, Erica Alexander is in the show, and she plays Ella's boss. Her name is Barb, and she is head of the HotTeaDigest.com, the name of the site that Ella writes for. She's like the editor-in-chief. So it's great to see her, Maxine, attorney, you know, in this new role. Completely different from the role we've seen her in before. She was also on Black Lightning for a while. So I love Erica Alexander. Like, I'm a huge fan, so it's really nice to see her again. And yeah, I think I covered everything. I mean, I didn't do like a scene by scene breakdown, which is what I have written out, and maybe I should have, because hopefully I didn't forget any major detail. Oh, shout out to Red Rooster Uptown. I feel like there was a quick cameo of Bevy Smith and the chef Marcus Samuelson right in the beginning. That was a cute cameo. I loved Cherchez la Femme. The music was awesome. It was great. Oh, the slow walk of the three girls on their way to the club. You know, if you're gonna have a show about women living in the city, going out for a night in the town, there has to be a slow walk. And theirs was dope. It was popping. It was Whitney, it was Ella, and it was Renee with that tired looking ponytail strutting to I'm conceited, I got a reason, and I look too good to me, and I look too, yeah, so that was cute. It was a really nice slow walk. I was feeling it. And it was nice to see them out dancing, and like I said, Renee was acting a fool, like she hadn't been out in ages. All the girls have beautiful apartments. It looks like the professor lives in a brownstone. Sandy spends a lot of time with him, but she also keeps the key to her own place. I want to know how Sandy pays for her place, because it was freaking gorgeous. I'm guessing that Ella got a lot of money for her book deal, so that's why she's got a dope spot. Whitney lives with her man in, looks like a high-rise, kind of a like very modern apartment. And yeah, Whitney's apartment looks like not Whitney, Ella's apartment looks like a place that I would live in if I had the income for it. It looks like my vibe, like huge, expansive, beautiful paintings, plants, nice colors. Out of all the apartments, Ella's was my favorite for me as far as to live, but they were all beautiful. So the clothes were fly. You know, I love that they do shots, because I'm a big fan of women doing shots as opposed to like drinking little cocktails or walking around with a beer. Just down that thing, ladies. Just down that thing. Go on to the dance floor. Yeah, so hooray for sex scenes. Hooray for Black women being stylish and fly. Hooray for a baldy long curly hair, weave wearing. Hooray for the shout out to Maya Angelou. I'm a phenomenal woman. She talks about the colonizer trying to invisibilize her in the bodega. Relatable, Renee, relatable. I might have to try that one day just to see if it works. Yeah, the ballet class, the mixed race girls, the paying for class, the offering of the scholarship, etc., etc. We got to see Anderson for 5 seconds, and we've established that he's not a good guy. Supposedly, a fuck boy, possibly. We shall see. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, I give it tens across the board, as they say on Pose, which I'll be reflecting on next up. All right, so I hope to see you there. Thanks so much. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.